So first few things I want to talk about. Silver is probably the best looking to me currently. You guys saw my analysis on it and we talked about it a little, but right, if we're expecting this low to hold, I'd want to see a sweep of these lows, right? Form a low and then trade to this high, range high. So that's what I'll be looking for tomorrow. This will be a candle 2 closure, looking to trade tomorrow higher. There's ways to trade this reversal day. It is just a bit more difficult unless you're catching kind of this 8 a.m. move higher, right? Or this continuation, or trading on a slightly higher time frame. Now, as for oil, wanting to see oil run out this low, which looks like it's about to do, which is great. And then I will be looking long from oil. After we run out this low, I'll be looking for tomorrow to form a swing point, and then I'll be looking to trade it higher. Gold, don't really care about right now. It's not clean at all. Indices we can talk about, but let's see. What questions do you specifically have about daily bias? If you ask more specific questions, it's easier for me to give answers that's going to help you. I stopped out break even on NQ trade today. Do you think it was a good break even or not? So unfortunately, I cannot see your trade. So you have to post your trade in here or link me to it so I can actually see what's going on. Would you say low a day on ES is valid to trade away from? So let's talk about a few things here. Creating failure swings on the move down, or reaching into a what? Protected swing. This reaches into a fair value gap. So this level you could anticipate to hold if we're going to leave this low and trade higher, right? Same here on ES and Q. Now, if we're looking for a reversal in here, where is that going to form? Off of previous day low. So going to the hourly, I want to see how is this forming. Well, price opens up and immediately drops lower. So open low, that is bullish. Doesn't quite get the change in the state of delivery. YM or RTY actually was much cleaner in that sense, where it does get that. But nice V-shaped reversal. And then this is a consolidation, move lower into there, and then closure over. So yeah, I would say it's valid to trade away from that. Right? I'd say RTY is a lot cleaner in that case. That makes sense. It was 9 a.m. C2 closure. Okay, let's go take a look at NQ. C2 on the 5 minute at 9 a.m. So you were taking it later, right? 9 a.m. You're trading long? What time frame? 5 minute? You gotta tell me what time frame where you took it. Like I can you show a photo? Because otherwise I'm just kind of guessing at where you entered and what you did. Because if you're entering after 9 a.m. here, I would say longs are not valid here right now. Why? Well, if you notice, we already had a swing point here. Candle 2, candle 3, candle 4. My model doesn't really look after candle 4, and who can tell me why we wouldn't want to look long right here? Yeah, we already took the highs. All right, so we're taking over the highs, you're at the high a day, right? It's just not super ideal. Now, if you're gonna try to look long, what do we need? We need a new what? Yeah, a new phase of price works, but what am I looking for specifically? Yeah, new swing point, exactly. So we need price to form some sort of new swing. And usually this will be a little tip. A lot of times where you have opposing candles and they're going to be respected as you trade up to this liquidity, right? Once you take out the liquidity, I'm more so focused on price taking out a swing point to then trade higher, right? So we have these equal lows right there. So right there, nice closure. What do we get? Closure through. You're not going to take this normally as now what? We're already over highs, price already expanded. You don't really expect too much more out of this day based off the daily profile, right? Because it went 250 points to form its wick, so 400 points. It's already added to average daily range. Unless you're getting in somewhere in here, this is usually something I'm not going to look at, right? You could frame something there. Or on that one. Where we are here. So I don't know where you went long or got break even. Yeah, see, I don't mind that. The only thing is, I don't really agree with the break even there. Like if you're trading this move here, and your stops there, one, it's like you're a bit high up into the daily range from the low. You're up 450 points on your entry. Let's see where your stop loss was. I don't know where your stop loss was. I'm assuming here. So if you have a 65 point stop loss, kind of just have to sit for that until 2R. Like, I'd be more so interested in that. Like that. Kind of just have to sit in it. Like if you're taking this type of trade, this isn't something you can just go to break even quickly because the volatility is already kind of through. You just have to sit in it. Stop loss at the bodies. Right there. I mean, same thing. You kind of just have to sit in that. I don't know. It's not something I would really generally take because we're over highs. We've already expanded. I feel like a chase, but oh, what is going on there? Apparently my stop loss is 1,400 points. That was weird. No. Like, I don't know. When I'm looking at this, I'm like, the range is pretty much developed. So how would I see this candle forming? I just expect it to go run here and then could retrace back into the range. Don't really have much expectations. I don't really see it reaching this high. I'm just looking at these failure swings to the right of it. So, when C4 on one asset is C2 on a correlated asset, makes SMT. Should we not treat it as C2? Can you send me a photo? Otherwise, I'm going to probably confuse myself. All right, let's see. How can I frame the daily bias? Like if I use the body closures, does not give me much of confidence. I end up taking a loss because of the bias being wrong. So you don't just blindly use closures, right? So for instance, let's say we're here. I'm not just going to blindly say, okay, because we closed bearish here, I'm bearish for the day. Right? I'm going to take a few things into context, right? So I'm going to say, okay, Monday traded away into a relevant level, right? The easiest trades, if you want to focus on it, are going to be candle 2 and candle 3 closures, right? So there wouldn't really be any trades. I guess you could say you could trade this day. But there's really no trades until tomorrow, right? If you're just using that. But I think where a lot of people get into trouble is they try to take every closure as, okay, I need to see this trade higher the next day. They'll say, okay, this closed over. I need to see a trade higher. Sure, it does. But I would have to see a few reviews of like examples where you were getting a bias to be able to correct them. Because I'm not just using closures, right? Like I'm going to use a closure and I'm going to pair that with the phases of price, right? So for instance here, right? We'll just take a random day, right? All right, we technically have a swing point. candle 2, candle 3. Mechanically, this is saying previous low, right? Just using a closure. But for me, I would say, okay, well, we already hit one of our targets here. This is a protected swing. So if we're going to frame it from a bullish perspective, what are we going to do? We're either going to sweep the low, trade higher, or we're going to respect 50% of this wick and trade higher, right? So then I want to see, all right, how do I frame it from the bearish perspective? Well, it needs to respect 0.5 of this. Not that likely. So I want to see, do we open, trade here, then higher? Do we open, trade here, then I can trade the next day higher. Right, then I'm just going to use the hourly. And this is why you use the hourly, because you want to confirm these things. Right, so what do? We open, we trade lower first. And then we trade higher, right? And there's actually an SMT here. But I'm not just using daily closures. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, because it closed over, I'm longing this next one. Not really how I approach it. I need to see some examples of what all confluences do I use. I don't know why this is not loading. Maybe I'll reset it again. Yo, what is going on? Trading view. This is all I use. The most simple way, I'm going to say this, most simple way to get bias. Candle 2, closure on daily chart. If you focus on that, it's going to be the easiest, right? Now what do I all use? Candle closures. That's swing points. I'll use phases of price. EQ. And then you could say wick sizes, stuff like that. That's really all I use. So for instance, going back to this example, the daily closure is what? It's telling me it could still be bearish, right? But I also have a larger wick telling me it could be bullish. This isn't an uptrend. Failure swings on the high. That leads me more bullish, but the daily's not quite there yet, right? So mechanically, if I'm just taking the simple method, candle 2 closure or candle 3 closure, there's nothing to do here. I wait. Now I have a candle 3 closure. And if you notice, now I have one really clean one-sided bias. If I want to go a little bit more advanced, my candle closure or my swing point, I can anticipate this to be a swing point because of the larger wick. And then I'm using the EQ or the wick size, right? And say, okay, we're forming a reversal here. Then I want to look at the wick size in respect to this on the next day. So like today, for example, what? This, you could say, I'm bearish to previous day low, right? How would I frame that? Well, if price opens, trades higher, respects this, I can trade it into previous day low. If we're going to form a reversal upside, how are we going to form? Open, trade lower into there, then trade higher, right? Then I kind of look at all the other things. We had an expansion. Is this a retracement or a reversal, right? You got to kind of figure that out. Phases of price, right? Expansion, failure swings, no wick, Monday, Tuesday. We're going to have a Wednesday reversal, Thursday, Friday, trade higher, right? Then wick size, I'm more so looking internal here. I don't know what all happening with trading view, right? Where I'm going to say, okay, did price open, trade higher here, to then trade it into previous day low and lower? Or what did it do? Oh, it opened, went lower first. So we're forming the lower wick to trade higher. See what I mean? Has it been a bit tougher? I would say, yeah, it's been a bit tougher lately. Like, this is not clean, right? It's a bit more advanced. You just look at clean days, it's like candle 2 closure, there's one day. Candle 2 closure, you could say this day. Candle 3 closure, so there. So you could have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, nothing, nothing. That's kind of indecisive. 4 maybe. On YM or RTY, 5. Nothing here, nothing here. Right? So yeah, I would say it's a bit more difficult. Like right now, I think the cleanest assets are TY. Ignore what I sent you through Discord. You already answered it. All right, cool. T, if you dropped a 30-minute chart on NQ, would it have not made more sense to wait for us to swing the form at 10:30? 30-minute NQ. Yo, I don't know what trading views tools are doing. 10:30. Yeah, I mean, you could wait for a swing to form here. But I mean, if you're using Lime's already running lower. Like you're either just, like I said, if you don't really get on side around the daily open, I would say a lot of this is a bit of a chase, mostly. Unless you're trading some very low time frames. Like, yeah, I would agree. It's not a bad thing to wait there. Is this a valid CISD formation? Closure above the down close candle on the 15th. Okay, so let's go over a few technicalities here. So the question is this a change in the state of delivery? And let me think about how to describe this. In terms of the daily range or this whole structure here, no, right? Because when you're looking at this whole structure or the daily, the CISD is always just going to be the low from the wick, the series of candles that made that, right? So that happens here. Now, this is a continuation, but what is it a CISD on? A lower time frame, right? So if I go to something like the 4 hour, right, where we're talking now not about this, but about this low, then yes, this is a change in the state of delivery, right? So inside this 4 hour swing point, this is the change in the state of delivery. Inside the higher time frame swing point, this hourly, this is not one, right? It's here. Does that make sense? Because the change in the state of delivery is where it's shifting trend from bullish to bearish, right? So on the hourly chart here, I don't really care if it closes over there, right? I mean, I care, but in terms of mechanical structure, I'm waiting for this to confirm that it is forming this wick low and that this is now bullish, right? On a lower time frame though, that is then the shift from this being bearish to being bullish again. Does that make sense? Sorry if that's a bit confusing. Get to traders, that was your question. So let me see if you have anything after it. Yeah, all right, makes sense. Yo, how's it going, 11? Let's see. When you have a closure above or below opposing candles on a smaller time frame, example a 5-minute hourly model, do you also require an imbalance on the 5-minute in association with the 5-minute CISD and C2? No, I do not require imbalances within the model. Like for instance here, I'm not looking, did we make a fair value gap here? Sure, it can be helpful to look at, and we did, right? But I'm just looking for price to have a V-shape and close over there, right? You'll see, I put everything in the course. That's what you need. I won't just surprise you with random stuff. That's where I keep going wrong, trying to trade each closure, which resulted in a ton of losses. Yeah, you got to not pattern trade it, right? Like if you try to pattern trade all of this, you're going to be trading short, you're going to be trading long, you're going to be trading short and long, right? You want to align this with a daily bias. So for instance, NQ 4-hour 15 here, right? You want to align this with a daily bias, then you can trade this stuff. Right? You want to align this with a daily bias, then you can trade this stuff. You don't want to just try to short this because it made a pattern, you know? I think, let's see. No, I don't think that swept it out. Then never mind, I wouldn't form a model there. No PSP or signal switch. I don't really use a signal switch. I don't really know what that means. I'll use correlated assets reversing and stuff, but I don't look at that type of stuff. What do you think about gold trade today? Let's go take a look at gold. So main thing I don't like about gold is there's just a lack of daily framework for me, right? So if we zoom in here, I'm viewing this as, this was a range. Oops. So like, not only have we not taken out this range low, we also haven't taken out this low. Do we have correlated assets taking them out? No. Like for me, it's just really hard to trust anything inside this day or like inside this range. Now, with that being said, I didn't highlight. Could you frame something long today? Sure. Right? It's more advanced, but you're trading just the fact that we reversed off previous day low with a little SMT. How does it open? Opens, makes that low, sweep, SMT, and then you're looking to trade this continuation. I actually don't mind it because we couldn't make a change in the state delivery here, but oh, we did. If I was gonna trade it, it would just be 11 here, because I can't trust these lows in here. See how these are all failure swings? Really hard for me to try to trade away from that. Then we go up here and we make equal lows right there, close through. So let's see if I could even get on the side with something like this. Hopefully it doesn't cheat. Nice. Right, so essentially saying, okay, we took out this previous target. I don't like this, but mainly we have the target here to the upside. How would I have to approach this? Well, I'm going to need a swing to form somewhere in here, which give it one candle. Right? Don't trust that. Now I'm just asking myself, do I trust that this low has formed yet? Personally, no. Right? I can't trust this. It's not enough for me because I'm just viewing this as a little consolidation range. And it's not deep enough. So if this goes, I miss it. Oh, nice. Okay, can't trust it still. I don't trust that this won't make a new low. Okay, if I was very confident in this trade, I'm just entering here. That'll get me around 2R. Or maybe I adjusted a little to get 2R. Let's see. Right. Otherwise, unless I'm trying to take a swing point entry, which this is a candle 3 closure, right, closing over the body, then I'm most likely not getting on side with something like this because I'd need to wait for that. And then I guess I could enter somewhere like that, but there's not enough risk to reward. So I wouldn't personally be catching these here. I just can't catch those longs because if you go to the hourly, unless we have some sort of SMT on that low, I guess you could say yeah, why does it keep doing that? Suppose you could look here, long, because of that SMT. The longing at 7 a.m. But I would prefer like something like that. I don't know, did any of you guys catch that? Oh nice, you cut the long on that. All right, let's see. So looking at your gold trade today, yeah, that's you took the one based with the off the SMT. So that works. Right? Without this SMT though, yeah, I would never try to trade that. So you took something like this. 5 minute. You can use this as the SMT, the bit, not the SMT, the CISD. And then you'd want to let this wick form, right? It reaches into that fair value gap. Closes over there, you could trust it. Okay. If it takes too long, all right, that's fine. So then you would just be buying that, stop there, 2R. You could make a case for looking for a retest on this, just because I would like to TP closer to this high. Let's see. Yeah, it's quite the fun hold there, but it is something. Daily bias wise has been a bit tougher. Yeah. Okay, I answered that. We have a closure above. All right, we answered that. The valid break even. I mean, to be honest with you there, I'm a bit confused on the entry itself. Marcox T. Like, I don't know the logic behind entering there and having your stop there. Like, in my mind, it doesn't really make sense to me. But maybe that's just me. I don't know if you're just trading this fair value gap. It's just not how I trade. But that's, like I said, one of those things where if you're in something like that, you kind of just need to hold it, especially if you're entering a bit later. See what NQ is doing. So NQ now approaching that high we were talking about. Right? Which, like, this is where I would just be like, all right, if I'm long anywhere in here, that's good enough for me. Could it go for that one? Yeah. But all right, did we go over HO longs? I was personally bearish on oil and others. So I personally wasn't looking long on HO. I know some people were. Could you frame it? Sure. Has a nice daily profile. Open low. Tapes out. Protects this swing. Get a continuation to here. I'm not gonna, like, I just can't trade this really because my bias is pretty bearish to these lows on CL, which you guys saw in my analysis channel. So that's just not something I would really trade. So it's kind of hard to go over that. Like, I would feel like forcing something. I wouldn't trade something in here. If I'm gonna trade something on HO here, I'm gonna be having to take something on a slightly higher time frame. So something like that. I actually, you know, if you're up in London, you could make a case for that. Consolidation. Why is it a consolidation? Takes too long to close over, right? Runs out the low. Now we have a new protected swing here. You could long that up there. You get 2R. Yeah. I would not be able to find something in New York here. I'll tell you that. I don't know if you guys can. I wouldn't be able to. So there's oil now to the target I was looking for. Right. New here, can you define what a failure swing is? So a failure swing is this. If we have a high, right? Price reaches up and fails to run out this high. So it is a failure and then it trades away. Right? Versus a protected swing is when we have a high, we don't fail to run out this high. We sweep it out. Right? So this is what I want to trade away from because that gives me an invalidation. This is what I want to trade to because it gives me targets. So if we look at silver, for example, right? Why am I kind of liking this longs, right? Well, one, we made a protected swing down here, right? But all these failure swings up here. That help? Dean, that was for you. It's literally just a lower high or a higher low. Yeah. If you go on my YouTube, I actually have a video on like high resistance versus low resistance liquidity. It's literally that. It's very simple. Don't overthink it. Took this loss on gold. I mean, the same thing with gold. I just couldn't tell you what's going on there. Right. I can see why you can frame shorts in here, right? We reach up, valid to look back to the daily open, sure. It just doesn't work. And the main thing is, if you want to take anything away, when we have a shallow sweep of previous day low and then we're trading this way, I don't really try to short that. Never really works that well. So that's the only thing I could say about shorting gold in here is we already took out previous day low, right? Which gives us a small wick. Daily candle is not supporting your move. Very confident we are able to just trade the retest of the confirmed. You're very confident we are able to just trade the retest of the confirmed C2 candle? Or would that bring unnecessary losses? I mean, it kind of depends, right? Like, if I have like a very A plus setup, right? Like I would sometimes be comfortable just longing this low and putting my stop here or something, right? Because I'm pretty biased. Versus if I'm not, I'm just gonna wait for this or wait for this next day to form a continuation. So I can't really say like, oh, you need to wait for an ICCSD or you need to wait for something. That's gonna be up to you and how you trade it. I don't know if that's gonna bring unnecessary losses or if it's gonna benefit you because I don't know what you would make the discretionary decisions on. What are your thoughts on trading C3 tomorrow on NQ tomorrow, considering the day before NFP? I'm fine with it. I'm going to be looking long, which maybe I was watching RTY, but I wanted to look long tomorrow. That's the plan. Long indices, long silver, and then hopefully long oil as well. See one thing. Yeah, not that interesting. I took a long on RB, but the trade was not good. Like I said, we're also like we're not always gonna have the same opinions. Like I know a lot of people that took longs on HO today, right? That's just not something I'm gonna take because of different bias on CL, right? It doesn't mean it's a wrong trade or it's a bad trade. It's just something I wouldn't do. But like I also do things differently than some people. So, I have a whole YouTube series on phases of price. If you want to check that out, probably the best. You run through the rules you use and log in trades. So I've seen back testing video on YouTube, but those are those rules you work into your live accounts. So basically my model is exactly what I trade. I'm not gonna log in on TradeZilla right now and show everyone my password, but like is essentially silver, right? Could you trade this reversal day? Yeah. What am I gonna do? I'm going to do exactly what I show. I'm going to wait for a candle 2 closure on the daily. Do we have an hourly change in the state of delivery? We do. Do we have a new protected swing? We do. So now I already have everything I need to know tomorrow I want to see price open wherever it closes, make a low in the upper half of here, and then look to get on side. I don't care if I get on side on the hourly. I don't care if I use the 4 hour and 15. I don't care if I use a lower time frame when it's in New York. That's what I'm going to be looking for, right? So I keep my daily pretty strict, and then I'm a bit more flexible on this, right? So a lot of people want a cookie cutter thing where they're like, I need to know exactly this. Well, if you want something cookie cutter, then define it for yourself. Go daily H1 for bias, and then use either, the H4 M15 or the H1 M5 and do nothing else. I personally am a bit more flexible where I don't really care too much on the timeframes I use as long as I've anticipated the low date is formed and I have a protected swing and can just trade the continuation, if that makes sense. So like if you go to my backtesting video on YouTube, what I am showing on this silver setup going into the rest of this week, that is exactly that. I'm not some person to make a model and then trade something completely different. Like I trade my model. So would you take this? Is it valid? Daily, hourly? Yeah, you can trade that. It's just trading the reversal. Like I just don't prefer to trade the reversal. That's all. Like you can trade this reversal in here. I just prefer this continuation here. And this continuation here is pretty propped up to the point where I don't really like it. Because to be honest, I'm not expecting, it might do it. Maybe it goes all the way to this high. Was I expecting a 600 point range? No, I honestly wasn't. Right? And sure, it does that. Cool. What time will get the recording of this? I'll just upload it when I'm done. So I prefer to wait for the daily close? Yeah, I do. Because if not, what happens is people are going to be okay, I'm going to try to trade this reversal. I'm going to trade, or I'll try to trade this reversal, try to trade this reversal. They're messing around all the way in there, and then I'll say, oh, nice, the reversal formed, and I trade. It's just like a lot easier. Yeah. Can turn this on. Bro, it's on. My, wait. Wait, I think, is it better now? Yeah. Now, if you have headphones on, it's echoing, man. I'll tell you that. The room I'm in, I haven't adjusted at all. It just moved in. It has like 13-foot ceilings. So it's like kind of just a chamber of echo. Like I could probably turn around backwards and you could still hear it through my microwave. Not through the microwave. My brain's cooked. Microphone. I'm talking into a microwave. Nice one. Did you go over my question? Didn't quite hear. Which question? I've just been scrolling through and trying not to miss any. Put a blanket over your head? That's not gonna help. Thought you were trading in church. I wonder. Let me see if I turn backwards. Can you guys still hear the echo? Can you guys hear this? Like actually so bad. I just literally talked backwards into the walls and it echoed. What classifies as a protected swing? I'm just gonna actually link you a video because it's gonna be so much more helpful than me talking about it right here. Here, I'd go watch this. Watch like 5 minutes and you'll probably get it. Taz, that's for you, that link. When it's only been fair value gap getting engaged and closing above, but I've been getting stopped out on what I think I protected swings. Well, if you're just really struggling with using fair value gaps, then just don't use fair value gaps and just wait for sweeps of highs and lows. Would you say this is valid? Yeah, I guess. It's just like longing high a day. I just still don't like doing that. And you guys know, what do I say about lagging assets? What do I not do? I just don't trade the lagging assets. Yeah. So like when we're looking at the structure here on NQ, right, where it's 10 a.m. high is here, and ES is above its 10 a.m. high, and YM also above its 10 a.m. high, which is technically the strongest. Funny enough, it's weakest intraday, strongest on the higher time frame. But I'm still just not gonna trade this long here, because to me, I'm like, this is just a chase, right? Like you were doing something in here. I don't know. To me, that's just a chase. Like I'm like, okay, we have a 600, 500, 600 point range. We're at the high a day. Is there any swing point to be trading off of? Candle 2, 3, 4, or in candle 5. Sure, we've failed to manipulate these highs currently. But also it's like, how do I know that this candle, I mean, there's 15 minutes left, so how do I know this candle's not gonna reverse right in the last 15 minutes? To me, it's just a bit of a chase. Like, sure, that can work. Dude, I don't know what it's doing. It can work. It's just not a trade I'm ever gonna take. Because once again, from the low that I'm trading away from to the high of a target, I want to be entering around or below that 50% mark. Right? Once I get up into here, it's a chase to me. So if it works, that works for you. That's great. Just not something I'm going to trade generally. Can a new candle sweep a protected low from the previous candle? That kind of invalidates the whole idea. If you have an actual protected low, like here's the thing though is, right? That's why it's important to mark out what is a protected low. Some people will consider this a protected low. I will not. Who can tell me why I'm not considering this a protected low here? No point of interest, right? Exactly. So when I see that, like I'm just waiting for that. Now this is a protected low, right? Because what? It has swept out point of interest into a fair value gap point of interest. It has both of our required point of interest. Trades higher. Are you trading a 1-to-1 on that, or I'm confused? Oh, you marked it wrong. Yeah. So you're not marking from your entry to. Wait, how do you even mark that? Can you walk me through the logic of how you marked out that discount premium? Are you just marking from a swing to the target? Like from here to the target? Like that? Is that what you were doing? Swing credit. Yeah, so I'm not doing it like that because I'm looking at this whole range, right? Which is, here's the range, right? This is my target. I'm looking at the swing I'm trading away from, which is there, right? So I'm looking at from there to there, right? So like for instance, let's do silver. If I'm trading this, what is the swing I'm trading away from, and what is my target? Yeah, it's the swing low that it's just your low you're trading away from, right? So right here, right, if I'm trading this, I'm trading away from this low to this high, right? So I'd mark it from there to there for a dealing range. Now let's go into something like this. Let's say I'm trading this. What am I looking at? Well, I'm trading away from this low to this high. So then I'd mark it from there to there. So from the higher time frame swing, that creates a higher low a day. Yeah, but it's not always the higher low a day, right? We can go to the 5-minute, right? Let's say I'm trading some smaller fractal, right? What am I going to use for this low? I'm wanting to target that high, right? So then if I'm going to enter, I ideally want to be entering in the lower half, somewhere in here. Right, that just kind of keeps me from chasing stuff. It's kind of the same thing here. If this was your first target, you're trading here, you want to be entering where on the lower time frames? There to there, somewhere in here. And this is different than like discount and premium. This is just like a dealing range. Are we seeing a SS? I don't know what you mean, SS. SS. YMNQ. I don't know what that means. For me, like no matter what, I'm not. Oh, no way it does it. What are we talking about? I can't long at the highs. It's just not in my model. Oh, a strength switch? What I actually haven't studied it. Is that just the failure to manipulate this high so then NQ trades to it? Is that all it is? Or is it more advanced? AUD? We talked about AUD, right? Yeah, AUD, USD. I would be looking at this. So here's another example if we're doing that again. What low, if we're trading this long, what's the low we're trading away from? Right here, right? What's the high? The swing high that made it. Boom. So if I want to trade long, ideally you want to be entering in the lower half, which means what? Going into the next day, I want to see price open, trade somewhere into here, go like that, and then I'd like this target because those are the failure swings. That's a protected swing. So I think that is a possibility for AUD USD. Oh, you took a loss. You're in cells. Wait, why are you in cells? When did you? Oh, you took this. I'm assuming you took something like this. Yeah, to the left. Yeah, you were doing that. I think that's fine. Main thing is what? Yeah, there. I think NZD is a lot weaker is the problem. Yeah. So I think you just gotta realize that you're shorting the stronger of the two. Like if you took that same trade or similar trade on NZD USD, then not a bad idea. Right, like, yeah, it just sells. And it's kind of over today. Yeah, I wouldn't beat yourself up on it. That's fine, honestly. It's just check the correlated asset and like make sure you're not shorting the stronger one. Show an ideal entry you would take on the hourly in 5 minutes. So it's always, my favorite entry is always going to be this. We're going to draw it out. We have some sort of candle 1, right? Candle 2 does this. So in candle 2, we'll have engine state of delivery, right? This will have more of a reversal structure. I didn't really draw it the best, but we'll have a little fair value gap in here, that, and then price will open up, kind of consolidate, run out this low into the fair value gap, form a continuation, and then I would long it right here. And that's the best entry, mechanically. Like that's the ideal entry, I would say. Check your question. Let me scroll up. How would you enter NQ? Unless you're entering on the very low time frames, you're not really going to catch that around the open. I was actually watching quite a low time frame in here, but it missed a sweep by like 2 points, so there's nothing for me. There's just really not much of an entry here today, unless you're going to be trading like RTY. I still would prefer on like a 15. Like I said, it's just not. When you have a 15-minute closure that's like 100 something points, 170 points, I'm just not really going to catch the move that follows that. So unless you're entering somewhere pre-open or right after the open, there isn't really one. When we were trading C3 and the 5-minute closure is too high, can we try to refine the closure to get the 3-minute fair bet entry? No, that's just chasing. So let's say you have something like this where the range is already expanded. Going to a lower time frame isn't going to change that this range is already expanded. The only thing to really do is wait for a new candle to open, it to form its wick, and then you trade. Because if you just go to a lower time frame here, you're just going to get chopped up in a consolidation. It's not going to make it more clear. This is a screenshot from your last stream explaining the C3 CISD. You marked 3 positions that could be considered a C3 CISD. So I did that to quiz people. What I'm looking for is the closure of the lowest swing, number 1. Explain how you could trust the remaining 2. So you wouldn't trust the other 2. I marked out 1, 2, 3 so people could answer in chat. And it's like a quiz. I'm not saying all 3 of those are CISDs. But I'll screenshot. You can trust number 2 once 1 confirms. right? Because what? This reaches into fair value at point of interest, closes over. This one doesn't really have much, but this one has a sweep of a low close through. So 2 makes sense, but only once number 1 confirms. But who can tell me the whole problem why I don't like this at all? Yeah, it took too long to form it. All right, so we want to see boom, boom, boom. We don't want to see it go and close over, because many times this just becomes a consolidation to go lower. All right. What is advanced PD range? I don't know what advanced PD range is. How should we read PA generally consolidating in terms of SMT when 2 are in, for example, premium, the others in discount? I don't do any of the advanced stuff, guys. Like if you're saying 2 are in premium, 1's in discount, that means that the 1 is lagging and I'm not trading the lagging asset. So like I don't do all the advanced stuff. That would just confuse me, make me overthink. That's great if you guys learn it and know how to do it. I'll use some SMT stuff and or if I see a PSP, but it's not required for me. You just hear me swallow water. That's so gross. What advice videos to watch for help? Which is the stronger asset? So the main thing I look for in what's a stronger asset is which one is propped up higher. So something like NQ. Right, I'm just gonna look for SMT. Is there SMT? Because if there's SMT here, right, what does it mean? It means the other asset is weaker because it's making a low. The next is relation to previous structure. So if one asset is all the way over these highs, while the other asset isn't, it means that this one's stronger, right? And then I also look at like correlation between this high, right? So how close are we from this high versus what are the other assets doing? If the other assets are over this high, this is the weakest one, right? If the other assets are down here, then this is the strongest one. So it's just comparing a few things together. It just takes time and experience, honestly. There is no SMT at the lows where it reversed. So like I said, I don't personally require SMT on stuff. So I don't really care that we don't have SMT here. It's just, oh, I guess you could say SMT with Lion thinks indicator, but it's more so just the profile of we swept out previous day low with a V shape. And then consolidation, sweep of the low, continuation. I don't really care about SMT that deeply. In GBP CAD. So let's go look at GBP. Consolidating, CAD's weak, or it was weak. It's probably not moving that much today. Yeah, I just don't really like that. Let's see. Today's open swept previous day low and now trading up. I don't know what broker you're using. Mine didn't sweep previous day low. But I feel like JPY, yeah, JPY, the range. I feel like USD JPY is the one today trade if you're gonna trade something. Like that's the better move. Because you want to find which of these currency pairs are actually like set to expand. JPY is in a range, forms a reversal here, and trade it back lower. CAD already had pretty significant move, but you could also look at CAD. These aren't doing anything. So you'd want to look at USD JPY or USD CAD. Like I'd rather look at USD CAD over GBP CAD. I don't know. I would say Forex was really good the last week or so, but now it's probably entering some sort of consolidation. What advice videos to watch to help identify the stronger asset? Okay, I went over that. How long have I been trading? From starting to learn to now. What year is it? 2020? Is it 2025? Yes, 2025. What did that put me at? 4 or 5 years? 5 years? Like that. I'd have to go back into like my options broker and just look at when I started placing trades. In mine, it swept. I mean, yeah, then it's valid to trade it back into the range. But like once again, where are you wanting to see a reversal day trade to? If you look at GBP, CAD, I think maybe we're on something else. I don't know. But like, once again, are we expecting the daily candle, even if it swept out here, to just expand all in one day? Probably not, right? We want to see it back to the EQ of this previous day. And then that's kind of their first target, right? And that's why if we go to indices, or EQ of the previous day, I don't really have much expectations, right? It's already expanded quite a bit. Didn't even expect it to expand that much. What other assets do you recommend to trade? Personally, only trade NQ, but recently got into gold. I think NQ and gold is good to stick with. You don't really need more, to be honest. Or yeah. All I can see in hindsight is the two-stage PSP at 12.15 NQ. Yeah, but the thing is, like, are you gonna trade that? Like I said, like you can see whatever in here and trade this higher. I'm not trading that. Like even whatever. Like it's just not a trade I'm gonna take. So like you're gonna beat yourself up over a 70-point move on something that's what at high a day. Like if we go like this, like you're at high a day after a 500-point range and you're beating yourself up over this. Probably not the best idea to feel bad about. What led you or how did you discover the fractal model? I mean, I learned a bunch of concepts, but like they're just concepts, and then figured out candle closures, and then I was like, all right, well, price only reverses with a swing point, so I might as well study that. Then I just spent like about 10 months putting together the model, and at first it was literally just you can ask someone like Day Trading Realtor or Kiko or a few others because like I showed them it way back when, but like all it was weekly profile and then daily candles. So I'd use daily candles to align myself with the weekly profile, then trade the intraday price action with that. And then I was like, I bet I could make this fractal. And I was like trying to figure out how to fractalize the weekly profile into lower time frames. And then instead of 5 candles, I just went with 4 and like a few other things for different reasons. But like that's it. Yeah, I was already making money. Did you and AM come up together? I don't know what you mean, did we come up together? Did we make it out the hood? Like, what? I don't know what you mean. Gonna have to be a bit more specific on come up together. When trading gold, are you using Euro GBP as your charting? I only use it for SMT, really. Like, if I'm watching gold, like there's nothing here on gold for me on daily, so I'm not gonna go look at other things, but I'll use it as like an SMT confluence. Really it. Like, I mean, did you guys start together? But even that, like, I don't know what you mean start together. I met AM through a group chat on Twitter, like 3 years ago or something. How would you apply the weekly profile on the fractal model? I mean, you don't have to think about it. If you use the daily and hourly, it is wait, it is weekly profile. Like what? Ready? We're looking at silver. Silver candle 2 closure. It has the hourly change in the state of delivery. Back when I was just using weekly profile, that's what I'd look for. I'd say, okay, we're having a Wednesday reversal confirmed by this change in the state of delivery. I can look for a Thursday and a Friday continuation. Now you just look at it as trading candle 3 and 4. Like you just don't have to think about it. So it really is the same thing. More simple. Or you're charting. I'm not trading forex pairs, only gold and futures. Are you trading to trade 6B and 16 futures? Yeah, I'll trade currency futures. You can see like I've been bearish on currencies the past week or so. But also there's people that ask questions on forex, and like I know a bit about forex, so I can answer questions on it. Kind of why I have it up. Would you say silver expanded already? Yeah. I'm waiting for tomorrow. Like it already took its previous day high and previous day low. That is expansion. I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't look to enter in here. Like that's a pretty clean entry. Taking that closure and then holding it to the highs. An hour. That's pretty sick, but didn't catch it. Was dealing with some stuff this one. I'll just wait for tomorrow. And that's like the easier trade anyways. So, all right, did I miss anyone's questions or any final questions? And then I'll go ahead and end the stream. I got an appointment to get to. If the candle takes both sides, you go the direction of the candle. So if the candle takes both sides, you just have to do a little bit more thinking here. Ready? Let's say this. Let's say silver closed like this on the daily. Okay, it's technically a candle 2 closure on both sides. Are you bearish or are you bullish? Answer that for me. Right? Because it closed back inside this high, or this low, and it closed back inside this high. Are you bullish or bearish? Bullish? Why? Overtook the high? But it closed back in. So one, my model has a built-in filter for this, where even if it closed back inside, do I have a change in the state of delivery? Bearish? No. Bullish? I do. Second, is this a bullish or a bearish candle? It's a bullish candle. So pretty bullish. So it's like you just have to ask yourself kind of those logical questions of, okay, if it took both sides of the range, do I have bullish? Is it bearish? This is pretty obviously bullish. Now let's go to something that's not as obvious. On ES. All right. Now this one, is this bullish or bearish? Indecisive, exactly. Right? So you just have to look into the price action and ask yourself some questions. It's not very complex, honestly. You just have to take another minute or two to analyze, right? So we can find a random candle as well and see, right? Versus like something like this, ready? Is this candle bullish or bearish? It took both sides. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to take some context into it. Okay, the trend is up. It swept out the low. It's closing over these opposing candles. You know what I mean? And I guess it didn't even close back inside, but it's not that deep, honestly. Like you just look and see, all right, is it a bullish candle? Is it a bearish candle? What's actually happening? Kind of like this, ready? Oil took both sides. Is it bearish or bullish right now? You know? All right. Am I missing? Okay, wait, let's see. If we were looking to trade the 1 day, 1 hour alignment in terms of bias, do we need a weekly C2, C3 closure to engage with a 1 day C2, C2 closure? Nah, I don't really use the weekly chart, to be honest. I just use the daily. If you want to, you can use it, but I just look at the daily chart. Because here's the thing, right? Let's say you decided this week that you're only, let's just say bearish, or only bullish, right? And let's say we had just a super great setup here, and we could have traded this lower, we could have traded this lower. But you said, I'm only bullish on the week, so I can't look at that. And then let's say does this, and then let's say, just for the sake of things, it takes out its previous day high and reverses again. You just now missed, let's say 1, 2, 3 trades that you could have taken, even let's say 4, right? All because you predetermined your bias, right? So that's why I prefer to just go day by day, where I'm going to say, okay, what is my bias for this day? What is my bias for the next day? You know what I mean? I don't preset my bias and have to have it align. Do I prefer that? Yeah. So for instance, on oil, if we're on the daily and monthly here, it's a bullish setup, right? Why do you think I'm looking for price to form a low right here? Right? Because you guys know my model. What do we have? Candle 2 closure. Oh, remember this. Remember how I was just talking about we'd have a fair value gap with a low right under it. I would want to see this. Remember how I was just talking about how that's like my A plus structure? Okay. So I see that. This makes me bullish. Am I just going to completely ignore intraday, any setup here? No, because I could trade bearish into my point of interest, right? Like I could trade a short into this, right? And the daily's bearish right now. Am I going to just give up all of that? Or am I going to wait for it to line and then trade it, So that's my approach to it. You always wait for New York session to trade indices? I'll take an overnight session or overnight session setup if it lines up correctly, but it's very specific, right? So for instance, let's say we would have the same structure and prices opening up tomorrow and we were right here. Then that's something I could look to trade, right, overnight, because I have a protected swing around the open. Whatever. Right now, where am I going to put my stop loss if I was trying to long this? Is it there? Is it there? Is it there? Now my risk reward just sucks. Can I put it there? No, I could sweep it out and go. So it's I need a very specific setup to be able to long overnight. But would you say it's good to know whether we're at previous week's high or low? Sure, but the thing is, guess what? If you're at previous week's high or low, you're always going to find that on the daily chart anyways, right? It's either going to be an actual low or it's going to be a swing high, right, that you're taking out. So for instance, right? Okay, on the daily chart, I see us sweeping out this low. Yeah, that's previous week's low, right? There's previous week's high. Or, I mean, current week's low, whatever. But you get the point, right? I can still see that from the daily chart. Right here. I just saw I sent you this on Insta 6 months ago. Let me see. I mean, it's a valid trade, but it looks like the daily already expanded quite a bit. Like, it looks like you had a massive expansion from like 5 a.m. on, and then you're trying to trade along after it likely took out something to the left. And you have a V-shaped reversal at the high, which is not ideal to trade into. Thanks. And if you're in New York session but overnight already expanded to targets, would you look for a continuation or sit out? Usually just sit out. Seen and leave? You have to realize I get like maybe 200 DMs a day on Instagram. Like most of the time I just don't read them. So it's like nothing against you. Like I actually just have like too many DMs. I can't respond to them. So like I'll look and I'll be like, huh. And then either I respond or I don't. Most of the time I just don't read them. So. not me ignoring you personally. I personally went out of my way to make sure that I knew I was ignoring Tish's DMs on Instagram. I don't have time to even do that. What is my game plan if NQ closes exactly like this? Well, then I'm just looking for the next day to trade higher into there and there, which is just, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to say, okay, we opened in London form a low, and then I'm just going to trade the continuation. If it didn't form a low, wait for the New York to form a low and trade the continuation. It's the same thing every time. Same thing for oil or for silver here. So. Is it must to align that daily hourly model to the 4-hour candle direction? That's my preference. Because already you could probably find a 4-hour model bearish here. All right, right here. 4-hour model bearish here on silver. What happens to it? It gets railed. Why? Well, the daily is quite bullish. No, I'm not interested in gold. It has a lack of any relevant point of interest on the daily chart. It's just a chop for me. I'm not trading that. What if Asia takes out previous day high? I don't really care. I'm expecting it to get taken out pretty early on. It'd be nice if it leaves it for New York, but if price closes right at its high, it's more than likely going to get taken out before New York. And I'm just using intraday profile to let the wick of the daily candle form. That's all. What is pretty clear for day trading, forex or indices? You can trade either. It doesn't matter. Like I would say pound was way cleaner. Like look at this. Pound was super clean the last bit of time, right? Equal lows, great target, swing, expansion, retracement, expansion. Fails to manipulate the lows, so euro can continue lower into this low as well. That's clean, a lot cleaner than indices. But then there's other times where indices cleaner than forex. There's not like a one right answer, and that's generally how trading is a lot. There's not going to be one right answer to things. How do you use to fund your trading? I just got jobs. Work multiple jobs, put money into my account. Like, you have to make more money. So where are you going to make more money? You have to get a job. So if all indices close strong today, would you look for the strongest asset using it? I always look to trade the stronger asset. So it's like, I can't say, oh, it's going to be NQ. I don't know. I have to see that tomorrow morning. I can't predict the future. Can I anticipate things? Sure. I can find a text message in a group chat that said, hey, I'm looking to long silver, you know, Thursday, Friday this week. Or like I said, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right? Because I can anticipate, okay, we're here. It's going to take a day or two to get into these lows and form a reversal. It's going to be a late week trade higher. I can anticipate those things sometimes. Very particular setups, but never can like just predict the future. Consider SMT on NQ. Can we use both ES and YM? Yeah, you can, if they're correlated. All right, I think we'll end the stream there. I'll end that. So, in there, I'll get that uploaded.